So, hello everyone, and welcome to the Lewis Nichols Show. And I'm excited to bring on my next guest today. And they probably have the best background out of any guest we've had on during the kind of lockdowns. Let's say hello to Shayne Ward. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Yourself?
Really good, thanks. You look really well, really healthy. So, how are you kind of coping with lockdown?
Great lighting, I think. I'm in my garage with painted walls. I don't know. Just maybe I'll put it down to being happy that I get to spend time with my little girl. Maybe And
Oh,
I'm a Mrs. Cooks fresh every day, so
you're eating well as well. That's the main thing.
I'm eating very well because it's very easy not to, especially when I've been in the studio for most days. It's very easy to go to that biscuit cupboard.
I mean, you've got a brand new single out, and this kind of isolation lockdowns kind of changed the way the nation thinks. And I think we appreciated the NHS before all of this, but I think we've got a much bigger appreciation now. And you wanted to do something kind of really special and raise money. So you've got your new single, Over the Rainbow. So tell us about how that all came about and what kind of inspired you to do it.
Yeah, so Over the Rainbow has been part of my life. I mean, I've known the song for as long as I can remember, but this particular version was a version that I did on the X Factor final in 2005. So that's 15 years ago. And I've been asked ever since to release that version. But I just never felt the need to, because I felt like it was perfect for the X Factor that night, but it doesn't serve a purpose for me just to release it for the sake of it. And my mum's been asking me for many, many years, and I would always tell her, I said, it has to mean something for me to do it. And with obviously what's happening in the world right now, it just completely felt right. And then I seen it was released as well from another person, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's continue to raise money for the NHS, key workers, care workers, and just if I can show my appreciation more so than clapping, I can do it through my voice and also a song that people do associate with me. So yeah, it's had a great response so far, and I'm really pleased that people are, putting their hands in their pocket. It's only 79p, it's nothing, but to the NHS, it's everything. So that's why I've done it.
And have you had any of the key workers kind of reach out to you and message you and say, thanks so much for what you're doing and thinking about us?
Yeah, I have. I've had a good few actually, and it's so nice because it's like the fact that they find time to even just reach
Yeah.
out and say thank you, because they're so busy every single day with basically what they're having to cope with, putting their own health second for hours. So yeah, but I'm just so humbled by it, and like I said, it's just my way of showing my appreciation to them. And I just want this track just to be amongst the NHS and just, well, not the song itself. I mean, Over the Rainbow, it got released. Like I said, Amanda Holden did a beautiful version that got released just before mine, and it's been released since 1938 by thousands of people. So the song's going to live on forever. But this particular version that I've done, I do hope that people really like it. The video is out there now, and it is. There's me promoting it, but it's true. It is available on all social streams. So yeah, just help the NHS. That's what it's about. So I'm very, very proud of it.
It's kind of wanted to go back to the beginning with you, which is kind of, did you always know growing up that you were going to be or wanted to be a singer, or was it kind of between something else for you?
Um, I've always sung. There was always people singing it in my house, and it was kind of like competitions, who can sing the loudest. Whatever song is, if someone's singing one song and another brother or sister singing another, they will sing as loud as they can until one gives up and sings the song that they're singing. So it was always something that I've done, and I'm one of seven, so I've got three brothers, three sisters. That's a big family of voices. Um, and then as I got a bit older, then I joined a band when I was 15, 16 called Destiny. Love the name. And it was with two of my closest friends, Tracy and Tracy, who are now called TNT. Just thought I'd just promote them. And I did the working men's clubs for about 5 or 6 years, and that's where I learnt my craft and started to build my own confidence in my voice, learned how to harmonise. And it was then that people were coming up to me saying, "You're really good." And for me, I was like, "Oh, thank you, I appreciate it." So yeah, I think whenever I sing a song, I just sing it the best that I can, and I took that into when I did the X Factor. When people said, "Do you ever think you're going to get through?" I'm like, "No, I just sung the song to the best of my ability and then prayed I'd get through." And so far, so good. It's been all right.
And with that, kind of, when you went on the show, it was only the second series, so it wasn't
Yeah.
kind of like known about like it is nowadays. And going on there for you was when the show was right at the peak, and the fame that must have come with that is kind of, how did you even adjust to that? Because you've gone on there, and it's almost like an overnight here we go, there's your fame, you're in every magazine you spoke about. So how did you personally kind of deal with that?
It's only now that you get to really process it, and I'm sure I'm not the only person to say that, because whenever you go through something like that, it's so fast, you know, it's so amazing. You're just being dragged from pillar to post. You're traveling the world. You're doing the videos. You're going to awards, and it's literally when you look back and you look at clips and go, "Do I remember that? Oh yeah." And that's it's so true. There's so many things that I've done that I'm like, oh, I forgot that I did that.
Yeah.
So you just have to kind of like, it's only now that it's starting to really process, because that's why they call it an absolute whirlwind when people go through this. But yeah, at the time you can't process nothing. You've just got to. I was 21 and I was enjoying life.
I kind of don't want to say it in a way that it's going to come out that it sounds really old, but I mean, back then, I mean, it was
Oh,
only
you can
15...
say it's fine. It was 15 years ago. Is it? A long time ago.
15 years ago, you had to go out and physically buy that song, you know, so to get that chart success that you had and your Christmas #1, it wasn't like nowadays where it was all streamed. You actually had to go and physically buy it. So does that make it extra special knowing that you've got that kind of Christmas #1 that way?
Yeah, no, absolutely does actually. Now you've said it kind of out loud and hearing it, it does make it that extra special, because yeah, people had to physically go out. I miss the days of album and single signings, of having people queued up and meeting them, because everything is done online and streaming now. Everything's added together. So that whole kind of physical side of it has gone, unless you're going to release an LP, you know, in physical form or whatever. So I do miss those days. But yeah, it does. I'm happy that I did what I did before the streams. But now, obviously, with the time being the streams, it's. I know I'm 35 and it was 15 years ago, but I was at around a time where it was only digital spy. You didn't really have all this big social media. I think you had MySpace and other things, but you know what I mean? So now it's like I'm starting to adapt to it now, where I feel like a granddad to it. You know, I know I'm only 35, but it's true. But I'm starting to get to grips with it now, especially of how all the streamings are working and all the platforms and everything. So yeah, I'm glad that I came from that time, but this time now excites me, because it can be on so many different levels.
How do you kind of deal with chart reaction? Because I guess for you, when you put so much hard work, effort in regards to creating the product, put it out there, if it doesn't get the kind of chart reaction that you expect or would like, does it kind of knock you off your, you know, how you feel, or do you just think, nope, people love what I've done, that's the main thing?
Yeah, do you know what? Back in the day, absolutely, because that's what the label was driven for. Everything's for that chart position, getting the song sold, well, getting as many copies of the album or single sold as possible, getting it around the world. Whereas with this, it's completely different, because I'm a lot older now. I'm 35. Don't want to keep saying that because I am, but I'm 35, and you know, I've experienced a hell of a lot in such a short period of time, and I wouldn't change a thing, because you know, everything that happens for a reason, and it brings you to the place that you're at right now. And me doing this track is not for a chart position. I think what happens is, you know, because it's solely for the NHS. But I think with the fan base, what I do love about it, because they're so very loyal, naturally they're going to keep promoting it, and I'm promoting it for the NHS, is that what happens automatically now with streaming sites and stuff like that, is that it automatically gets registered with Kantar, sorry, and the official charts. So it will chart somewhere. And it's not going to break my heart wherever it ends up, because my heart was for doing this for the NHS and nothing more. And if it does well in the charts, that's another cherry on the cake. But right now, what happened yesterday is it peaked at #1 on the iTunes chart. And that, considering I've not released anything in a long, long time, and I've done it for a great cause, the fact that I can say that I got my charity single for the NHS to hit #1 on the iTunes charts, that to me is already a win for me. And that's not a big-headed thing. That's for me, it's like, it's not even what I wanted. I was aiming for. I just wanted it to get it out there. But the fact that it did that just made me so proud for the NHS and the single.
From a more kind of observational point, you've always had an ability to connect with an audience in whatever you do, be it singing or acting, where, you know, through your performances. You had this kind of way that you can just get people to really invest into you and move them with your performances. So how do you kind of do that? Was that just you as a person?
Well, Thank you. No, it's quite a nice compliment. Thank you. I don't know if I mean it's always humbling to have people say such lovely things and say that they got a connection to me, whether it was Aidan Connor or whether it was due to X Factor, or whether it be the fact with this track with the NHS and the fact that it's over the rainbow. I don't know. It's a very hard actually question to answer. I just think you just got to be yourself, and if you be yourself, and you know people can relate to it, and there's no formula to it. It's just be who you are. Be a real person. Be approachable. You know, be genuine. It doesn't matter if you're big, small in the industry. It doesn't matter. Like you can't not be nice. You gotta be nice. Just because I think that's the problem. I think a lot of fans feel as well that they always say don't meet your heroes. You know, but you don't know till you try. And I think, you know, one thing that always gets to me is that I've got I can deal with social media. If someone says a nasty thing, doesn't bother me. Maybe a little. Because I say 9 times out of 10 bite your tongue, but that 1%, you're human, you're allowed to say something back. But in the same breath, I just feel like you just be a nice person. You don't have to be an absolute idiot. You know what I mean? And that's what people gravitate towards. And they can see when I was doing my acting, if they felt like they could basically connect with me, it's probably because they saw what I was like before I went into Coronation Street, and they connected with me before as a person. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Just be real, like you. Just be real. You be you. And I think, like I said, for me, one of the worst things is that I wouldn't like. Not on social media, because I'm not bothered about that if someone says something horrible there, but knowing that I am a nice person, I'd hate to leave a situation, walk away, and someone say something like that I'm not, because I know that's not me. You know what I mean? So, yeah, people gravitate towards me, and it's a nice feeling because I guess it's because I'm a nice person.
And you mentioned that the part in Coronation Street is Aidan Connor. Now, normally when you hear that a former kind of pop star is going into a soap, you kind of are not sure what to expect. And you went in there, and from the very beginning, it was like, wow, okay, this is something you were born to do, because you just took the role and made it your own. I sound like Louis Walsh, actually, don't I? But, you went in there. And what you did was incredible. And the storyline for a show of that kind of legacy as Coronation Street, to give you such a powerful story, to go out there and say, you do what you can with this story. Did you ever feel pressurized with it, because it's so big?
Oh yeah, massive pressure from the get-go all the way to the end, because it is such an institute. It's over 50 years old. It's a mum's favourite, you know what I mean? My mum loves it. All mums love Coronation Street. And I knew going into it, you are on television 4 or 5 times a week, you know what I mean? Whether it repeats or whatever. So yeah, you get pigeonholed. You go into anything and it's like, oh, a singer's going to be acting, you know, but that happens to absolutely everybody. But I went in because I had this belief that, you know, you've got to go for it, because you don't know if you're any good at anything unless you actually try it. And I was only meant to be there for 6 months and ended up doing 3 years. And because they invested in me, the public invested in me, and that definitely built my confidence, because I started to feel like I could do this when I was doing my music videos. You know, I felt like, this is kind of acting. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, he was kissing a girl. It's not acting. You know what I mean? That's kind of, you don't need any acting in that. But, you know, when you're selling, like, you're in love with that person in the video and you're looking at them in their eyes, you've got to really sell it. And I thought, well, I can take that into the acting and also just walk up and say, I'm a sponge, throw at me, let me learn. I don't know everything. And I was happy to see my confidence in my acting, in my acting ability grow over the 3 years. And the fact that it led to one of the biggest storylines, actually, to do male suicide, which hasn't been done yet. At the time, I was very, very proud and honoured that they trusted me with that, and that I think that was because they could see how I progressed with my acting ability.
And I think for you and for what you did, because at the moment mental health is such a big thing, and a lot of especially males don't know how to open up about it. And I think a lot more now we're standing together and realizing it's okay to talk. And I think what you did with that story was actually give people the ability to actually reach out and talk. And I know you probably noticed it as well, but I've seen so many things on social media that because of you and that storyline, people actually reached out to get help that were feeling that way. And that must kind of make you feel like, you know, that's a job well done.
It does. It gets me right here, even hearing it there, because it upsets me, because it's a real taboo, something that we're trying to tackle. And and it was the right thing to do, to use that platform. Kate Oates, she was the boss at the time, and she approached me, and it was scary. Do I do it? Do I stay on at Corrie and do a different storyline, or do I tackle this? And I had a chat with my family and my partner, and and we all agreed, yeah, this is the right thing to do. And yeah, still to this day, you see a lot of people message me and tell me how they're feeling, and that they had a connection to this storyline, and you don't quite know what to say. I've met them in public. I've said this story many times when I've been asked. I think it was last year. I was down shopping down the road, and I was at the counter, and the guy just put his hand out and said, "Can I shake your hand?" And I shook his hand, and I knew from that moment it was nothing to do with X Factor, nothing to do with whatever. He just looked at me, and then he just said the storyline, and I knew, and I just said, "And how are you feeling now?" He says, "I'm in a better place," and that was such a massive team effort from Coronation Street, Calm, Mine, Samaritans, everyone that was involved, all the people that we spoke to behind the scenes, and the public just getting behind it. So yeah, I mean, just thinking about it now, it just brings me back.
Yeah.
Because it was such a powerful scene, and one of my proudest moments. But yeah, I'm just really proud that people have, I don't want to say found the confidence, because it's easy for us to sit here and say, go on, talk, go on, do it.
Yeah.
We don't know how to, because what I fear now is a lot of people, when we're back to the everyday living, they still live in isolation in their head. So imagine what it's like now at home. It's like double the isolation. But just know that we will listen. We don't have to talk. We don't have to like answer any questions. We'll just listen. We'll lend an ear. If that's an easier way to help you to talk, then that's what we're willing to do.
I think, like I said, you did incredibly, and that must have given you a bit of a bug to kind of knowing how well you did, and to get the reaction, to kind of want a little bit more in regards to acting. So, are there any plans at the moment? I know it's kind of hard to say, yeah, I'm doing this with all this going on, but are there plans for you to step back into to acting?
Oh no, I carried on straight away.
Yeah.
I filmed my first feature film as a lead, and it's released June the 7th, and it's called The Ascent. So I play Will Stanton, and I'm a commander. I filmed it over a year ago to remember the name. I play Will Stanton, and I'm a commander, and in charge of my own task force. And it's a typical story of, we go into a camp to gather intel and to take out basically anyone that stands in the way. And what happens then, it all revolves around the consequences that happen as a result of what we do to this prisoner. Whatever happens to her then sets us into this time loop where basically we are now fighting ourselves and so much, and we've got to try and make things right. So it's one of those films where you have to sit down and watch it from beginning to end, because if you need the loop, go before.
Yeah.
But it's directed by Tom Patton, and very excited about it. And that, again, 7th of June, is on all platforms. So if you're still in isolation, you can watch it.
And in regards to music, obviously we've got the new single that we're going to get shared, but you've got plans for like an upcoming album? Is there more that we can expect?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like this has been the great reset for me, because again, just feeling inspired just by being home with my little girl again, and thinking, do you know what? She's growing up. She's going to be 4 in December. She's looking at discs, and she's seeing clips and stuff like that of me and her mummy on television. And I'm like, do you know what? I want to show you what Daddy has done and is still doing and can do and will do. So yeah, I've been working on new material. No release date at the minute, but I've got a good few ideas, and mainly collaborations. Something I've never really done. I've done 1 or 2 over the years, but I really want to focus on getting some great collaborations ready. So that's me putting it out there as well. Let's do it.
It seems good just talking to you, the positivity, because you've got that sense of freedom where kind of, I guess when you're with a record label, you're told to do this, but you seem to have that creative side that you can go out there and put what you want out and kind of let us see the real kind of Shayne.
I think that's kind of like years of experience now, and actually, yeah, just loving what I do, and actually not being afraid to get a no, because I always say the worst you can get is a no, because one door closes, another one will open. But you're right. Back in the day, you were told, stay in your lane, just do this, do that, and you feel pressured. But it's amazing, like me looking back after 15 years, and actually when I stop and for a second and actually look at it all as if it's in front of me and go, I've learned a lot. Right. Well, that's what I did with this track. You know, I got my own producer involved. I shot my own video in here, my own child's blackout curtain over a clothes rack, set the camera up, got a piece of fluff on my ear. You know, there's no one there to take it off in case the director goes, get that fluff off his ear. So kept it real, got my own radio plugger, TV plugger, and it's just things that I thought, do you know what, I've made so many great connections over the years, but also so many great friends, and I thought, I can do this. You know, I don't need that little black book. So I'm very proud of what we've done, as obviously what I've done creating all this for Over the Rainbow, and I'm glad that you can see the positivity kind of seeping through.
And it's been, honestly, it's generally been so good to talk to you today, to kind of talk about some of the moments in your career. And it's really nice to see this side of you, where we see that everything at the forefront of what you do is to be a good dad. And you said there that you'd like your little girl to see what you've done, and what you've done is incredible in such 15 years. So yeah, thank you so much for giving me your time today.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for allowing me
you.
to use your platform. Cheers, dude.
Thanks.